and welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and this week it is Christmas in July again. And last week on Facebook Live I asked you if you wanted to see more Christmas, and overwhelmingly you said yes. So I'm going to take a few weeks and I'm going to focus on Christmas, and I'll try to mix it up. I'll do some more challenging projects and some really simple projects. For those of you who send out many Christmas cards, you could do a simple project like this one for this week's video. So like I said, I'm going to mix it up, and I'll do some simple ones and some complicated ones, but I am going to do Christmas because I know that you guys love that so much. So here we go. We're going to do this little birdhouse. We're going to change it now from summer to winter, and we're going to do this little Christmas scene. Super easy. It's only 3 stamps, well, 3 sets. So we're going to use the 2 Evergreen stamps from the Evergreen Tree Set, and this little dog, and of course the birdhouse on here. So we are going to need the birdhouse, obviously, and it is 5261. It's this one right here. Here is the dog set. And of course you could use any of these dogs, or you could use the cats, or you could use the birds. Any of the little characters will work on here. I chose this little guy right here. And then this is the tree set. This is the fir tree set. And we're going to use two of the fir boughs. These 2 right here, the left and the right. Okay, so that is all we need. We're going to get going, and I'm going to show you how to put this together. So the first thing we're going to do is start out with the birdhouse. And because we are doing a snowy birdhouse, we're not going to do the detail on the side here. So we're going to leave this whole section off, and we're going to try to show snow on that roof. So we're going to start out with 2 colors. We're going to do the dark blue first, and we're just going to come along the side of that roof. Now this side is okay, you can hit that, that's fine. But that left-hand side on the block, we're gonna leave that open. And then we're gonna come back over it again with the brown. This is the dark brown. So those 2 colors that kind of start out every project, they're starting out this one too. So make sure you get all of that section. And then I'm going to stamp it off because I don't want it too dark. So I'm just going to stamp it off on some scratch paper and then stamp it onto my watercolor paper. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And you can see this whole side of the roof is gone. That's what we want. We want to kind of show a snowy roof on there. So we have to take care of that. So I'm going to get my water now. I'm going to dip my brush off, really saturate my brush. And then I'm just going to come in here and just start pulling out some of this color, especially in this little decorative area here. And then just come alongside here and come alongside here. And just kind of follow underneath, because remember, we're not coloring on top of the line. We're coloring underneath it so that we can just pull that color out. And we're going to add some color to this little birdhouse anyway, so we don't have to do a ton right now. We're just going to pull out some of this color. It's going to be darker on the side, of course. And you know, that's about all we have to do right now. We can take some of this color to the inside, but that's pretty good for now. I'm going to move this out of the way here. Okay, that's better. All right, so let's move on to the next step, and that's to add the snow onto the roof. Now this is so easy, you guys. Don't stress over stuff like this, because basically what you're doing is you're showing the roof with the negative space. So what that means is that you're going to color the dark around here. So you're just going to come down along the side, just like that. And then you're going to come up, over, and around. And you're going to make a little snowy edge right on the side. Like, just so easy, just nothing to it. And then we can always add in more sky behind there later on, but we're just kind of getting the idea of this snowy roof right now. And then let's add some color now to it. And actually, let's do the Molotov first. So I'm going to put some snow in the background. This is totally up to you. You don't have to do this step. I just really love this Molotov pen. And so I just love to use it. And you know, it's good to put it in now while we're coloring because that gives it a chance to dry. And you can just, you know, put as much of this in as you want to. Okay. So let's add some color now to the little birdhouse. And you can, I'm just going to add some green to my palette and do this in the green, but you can do it in red or blue, whatever color you want. And I'm just going to add some more of this green on here too. We're going to need all these colors. Okay, so I'm going to dip my brush now and pinch it off and take some of this green. This is the blue green, so this is number 249. I'm just gonna try to get into the habit of doing this. Kendra does this on her videos and people love that she does that. And so I'm gonna try, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but I'm gonna try to remember that. This is 885, and this one is 177. And of course this is the dark blue, 565. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna take some of this cool blue, this one right here, or cool green, and I'm just going to add some color now to the birdhouse. And just brush it on. And like I said, you could do any color you want. I want to make it Christmassy, so I picked a green. But it's fun to change these little birdhouses up. And, you know, just changing the season, you know, changing out the color changes the season. So it'll also be really cute for fall. You could do some oranges and some yellows. Sounds like a video I need to do. Maybe I'll do that one next time. After we finish up with Christmas in July, maybe we'll go into fall. Okay, so don't stress out about this. There's nothing to it. You can go back in again and get it a little bit darker if you want to. And I'm kind of leaving the trim on here white. And I'm just going to mix a little of this blue now to the side here and really darken this side. Just darken this side of the little birdhouse because that's in the shadow. And then some more of this green up here. And just kind of tuck it in here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and darken in these little openings. I want to make sure that we're really showing that dark because that's going to just kind of pop everything out. And I'm just using the fine tip of the dark blue. So this is that dark blue marker that we started with. And I'm just using the fine tip. Be sure to leave that little edge on the side. It's just amazing what a difference that makes, but it really, really does. Be sure to show that little opening, this little side right here. That gives a lot of perspective when you do that. And I'm just gonna come in just right under here. I wanna make sure this is really, this is dark under this little eave. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and add our little fir boughs in. And I'm gonna use a warmer green this time. This is the 177. And I'm just gonna start out by stamping this in here, just like this. Just nothing to it. And maybe one down like this. And then let's take this one that's going the other direction. And just stamp this one in. And be really careful when you are adding water to these because you don't want to lose the shape of these fir boughs. You want to be able to see that they're fir boughs, so you don't want to just add a ton of water to them. Just carefully soften them up and make sure you don't lose the kind of lose the integrity of the stamp. Okay, that looks good. So let's go ahead and put our little dog in. He's gonna go right down at the bottom. And I think I'll kind of tuck him behind this post a little bit. So I'm gonna use some, my favorite masking tape. If you don't own this, this is, you know, it's not expensive, but it is so great and it works like a dream. I just use it all the time, just to cover the basic area. And you can use it over and over again. So I have it stuck all over everything. Okay, so I'm gonna ink this in the dark brown, so the 969, and then I'm gonna stamp it off because that would be way too dark. So I'm just gonna ink it all up. And then I'm gonna stamp it off. And then I'm going to use my, my positioner and make sure that I get this in the right place. So I'm going to stamp it in the corner, just like this. And I'm just going to tuck him back in here like that. Actually, let's turn him a little bit. So he's kind of peeking out from under there. And I can just tap on it. And there we go. And now we can remove these. And he's just tucked behind that pole, so cute. So the first thing that you want to do when you're stamping these, of course, is to get the eyes and the nose in. You know, when you're stamping on watercolor paper and it is textured, it's really hard to get these tiny little details to stamp really dark. So this is kind of one of those things that you want to do. You always want to do first, and it will really just pop out that little character. And then we can add the water. So always pinch your brush off. And you know, with these little guys, you want to keep the face light. Always keep the face light around the eyes. It's so important. And on my sample, I put a little red sweater on him. So that's totally optional, up to you if you want to do that. Here's how to do it. I use a pencil. I just use a pencil as a guide, and I just make a little arc here and a little arc here, and then just a little one back here, and then maybe just a little one for the neck. And then you kind of know exactly where you want to have this sweater. And always remember, you know, when you're doing these lines, you know, this is a contour. So let me hold this up to you. See how his little legs are contours? Make sure you have a bit of an arc on that line. You know, when you go to pencil that line and you go to put that little sweater on, make sure you have an arc on here so that's not flat and not straight. You don't want to have a straight line. It is amazing what a difference that makes. It seems like such a little thing, but it really, really, really makes a difference. So now I'm going to take some of this red from my palette and just brush in this little sweater just to my lines. Try to do each section. And you can put your color right over those pencil lines because you can always erase them. I use pencil a lot just for a guideline. And then that's not quite dark enough, so I'm going to come back in again and stay in each section. And when you finish with the red, make sure you really clean off your brush because that red will just stay in there. And I'm just going to add a little of the warm brown to my palette. So this is number 947. You can see that. Let me move this over. So 947. And just put a little of this color on his little feet and his back leg. And I think I'll really get his ears dark. Leave a highlight, you know, on the top, even though it's small. Make sure to leave that little bit of a highlight on him. Okay, and we can come back and put a little detail in later after we're finished. So let's go on and finish up with this little post. And I'm just gonna pull some of this color down from the sides. And let's do our red. So I'm gonna take some of this red now, and I'm just gonna make some little ornaments, just little round circles, and try to leave a little highlight. You know, if you don't get it, it's okay, but try to, for the majority of these, try to leave a little highlight on here. It's one of those things that really makes a difference. It makes things look three-dimensional. And you can just, you know, put these in wherever you want to. And maybe just one more up here. Two more. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just going to come back in one more pass. Make sure that I get these dark enough. And you know, if they're not perfectly round, it's okay, because that's watercolor. It's very forgiving like that. Things don't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to now come in with my fine tip, and I'm just gonna go right under here and just do a dark line right underneath. And that will kind of round these out too. Okay, just like that. I'm going to take my my fine tip on my blue, and these ones that are hanging down, I'm just going to make a little hook. Just like that. And then let's go ahead and finish up the little post. And here we go with the pencil again. This is just really, it really helps to do this. So just draw these little lines in, and then you can go back and make sure that they're even. So you can see the arc again on here. You can see the arc because the post is round, and so you don't want a straight line. If you draw a straight line across here, you're not going to get that this post is round, that it has a contour to it. And you can always come back and erase that later. So let's go ahead and put the red in. Actually, let's add a little bit more to palette here. And just brush this in. You know, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And if you can leave a little highlight in the center, that's good too. All these little things tell your eye that things have shape and contour and dimension, and that's what we're going for. We want things to look three-dimensional. We don't want them to look flat. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to put some sky in now. So I'm going to take some of this blue and just really add some of this blue into the background. This is totally optional. You can do this or not. And then your horizon back here, remember it's kind of the reverse. So you're coloring in the negative space. So we're creating the snow by coloring the sky. Be careful that you don't touch the red. That's, you know, really important, you know, or this little dog, because you will for sure bleed that color out. And I'm just gonna put a little darker color in here now, where this roof line is. And you can see I'm just kind of pushing this color around. You know, it's really not brush strokes. Just kind of pushing the color around. And I like this splotchy look. You know what I mean by blotchy look. Just kind of looks like blotchy. I like that look. Okay, so I'm careful not to touch the post. I don't want to get that in there. And I've got my little guy in the back. So I'm just going to add a little shadow under here and under him. And then just make a few little marks in the snow. Like that. And I think I'll just take my fine tip now. It's my fine tip brown. And I'll just make a few little details on his little feet. And just make sure I get his little ears in there dark. This little guy, and maybe put these lines back in. And then anywhere that you think, you know, I always do this, I always go back and do this, kind of a habit now, and just see if there's any areas that I need to kind of darken a little bit. And I think I'll take my green and just make a little detail in this part here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we just need to take off the masking. Make sure your image is completely dry before you do this. Not that that's ever happened to me. Huh. But it will smear everything up if you don't. Okay, and there we go. So one thing left to do, and that is to sign and date, obviously. And put this on a card or put it in a frame. It would be so cute in a frame. And give it away to someone. And make it personal this Christmas. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next week on Wednesday live on Facebook. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you all again.